Logic is never going to fix your woman's emotional storm. You can never logically get her out of a place where she's emotional or she's spinning out of control. It's just never going to happen. In fact, the more that you do this, you're going to find that your relationship gets more contentious. She's going to spin more out of control. And where you think you're helping her, you're really causing more chaos in the relationship, eventually to the point where you're going to blow up yourself and really spin it out of control. And so the hallmark of a good relationship and a guy who has his shit together and picked a good woman is you'll notice that they have low drama. The longer he's with her, the more stable she is, the more happy she is, the more open she is, and the more grounded she is. Whereas if you see your woman getting more upset, more angry, more chaotic, more overwhelmed, more frustrated, chopping off all her hair, gaining all this weight, doesn't care about her sexuality, not having sex with you, just realize that this is indicative of one of two things. One, you're really just not good at leading your family, or two, you picked a woman who can never be led. And so in this video, I'm going to go into why logic will not solve an argument and it will not solve the emotionality in your marriage. My name is Ed Baxter and I help guys in betrayal situations. The process of being with a woman for 50 years or a woman that you're dating is pretty much the same. For us, it's just science. Because we know the patterns, we know the solutions. It's not that complicated. You have to make a commitment for yourself. That's what it means to be in Soul Seducer program. That's what it means to work with me directly. So that you can learn to handle your emotions, so you can learn to see right into a woman's soul and seduce her from within, to create this garden that she can actually thrive in. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. Men are very direct in the way that they communicate. They will tell you exactly what's going on. They typically know the emotion that's happening. They'll just say, yeah, I'm fucking pissed because this shit happened, right? Here's what's going on with me. This is what's going on, and here's probably the solution. And I'll feel better when this shit gets resolved. Very simple. In fact, a lot of our emotional state is because of a thing that's happening out there, and when that thing out there gets solved, the emotion just goes away. Whereas for your woman, it's kind of the opposite. So she's going to evoke emotionally so that you can receive it emotionally, so you can intuitively see what's going on completely. And to a guy that is completely convoluted as hell. And it's not always like completely polarized in this way. There's going to be a little bit of directness and there's going to be a little bit of emotionality even with the guy. But for her, it's going to be much more skewed into the emotionality. And you know this, and this is why you have this hard time having a good communicated discussion with her, because you're just not seeing eye to eye, mouth to mouth in this situation. And so just realize that emotion always overrides reason. So if your woman is emotional and you're trying to appeal to the logical side of her, just realize she's caught up in the amygdala, the cerebral cortex, the outside part of your brain, the thing that is used for logic and reason, has less blood flow, and she's not going to be able to think as clearly. She's going to be all the mammalian brain. And so when you get locked up, let's say your wife yells at you, and you get freezed up and you can't think straight, this is the same thing that's happening to you. You get caught in fight or flight. So the high emotions means you cannot reason very well. And so when we get into this argument with her, we talk to her, we argue with her, and you spin up the emotionality. When your woman gets emotional, your job is not to fix her. Because what happens is if you try to fix her, you go into robot mode, which means I'm going to be just very logical. I'm going to be very logical and see what's going on. I'm going to solve the problem for her, tell her what the solution is, and she'll say, thank you so much. Okay, problem solved. That's how guys think. No, she needs to work through the emotional state first so she can get back into her normal, fully present self. And oftentimes she'll talk her way into spontaneously coming up with the proper solution. So when you try to fix your woman's problems, she's going to see it as condescending. Like, you know how to do things better than her. This is where the whole term mansplaining comes from. It's just a woman's term of saying, hey, you're being condescending and you're looking at me like I can't figure it out on my own. And guys will do this a lot of time because they want their woman to look at him like, hey, this guy's smart. He's so smart. He's got all the advice. I love this guy to death. He's amazing. But really, you're just coming off as condescending. And you're also setting up the situation that your woman can't really handle herself. Like, she doesn't really understand what's happening. And you also now communicate to her that you are the emotional fixer, so that anytime she's emotional, you come in and swoop in and try to save the day, which means you're also telling her that anytime she's emotional, it's now your fault. Good job. Now you know why she gets upset at you and blames you for everything. Because you have been sub-communicating to her that you are the solution to all her problems. So when she has problems and you can't solve them, you're the fucking problem. I'm not attracted to you anymore, so you're the problem. Not, hey, I need to see why I'm closed down and can't be open to my husband and I can't communicate and I can't be intimate with him. I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to blame him for the fact that I'm not attracted to him. I guess I'll just have to get my needs met somewhere else. This is what happens when you do this game of trying to fix it for her so much, instead of actually just being in the space with her and working it through. So logic is very cold. It doesn't really require emotionality. In fact, the universe is based on logic. And so you, as a guy, think this is the way that you should approach it. But the thing is that she's emotional, and emotions do come through logic. I'm going to show you how this works. So she's having an emotion about something, and is usually very good and logical reason why she's emotional. The problem is she is an emotional person, so the emotion gets too much. And she's having a hard time articulating it, and she's having a hard time dealing with it, and she needs somebody to help ground her and help keep it present, help her come back online and lead her back into her heart. And this is the place that men are uniquely positioned to help a woman in a relationship. Oftentimes they'll resist it because sometimes they like being angry. Sometimes they like being upset. They like to stay in that place and hold on to it because they see it as a source of strength and power. Really, they're feeling weak and whatever. Like anger is a false sense of power. Like when you're furious and angry, you feel very powerful, but you're also not thinking straight. And you're also an asshole, and you're usually going to be destructive. And so when you get that much emotionality, you're not thinking straight. She can leverage you to be the guy that just holds the space, to be the guy that just helps lead her back into her heart when she can't normally do so herself. Other than a lot of alone time or talking about it with her friends, or just this whole dumping, venting thing, which the venting can help, because once it's vented, then you kind of come back online, and then you can come up with a solution. You can talk, think it out. And a lot of women leverage this quite heavily with each other, their girlfriends. But for you as the husband, you don't need to get in the middle of either one of these things. You don't need to be this person she just vents to and essentially be her emotional tampon. It doesn't feel good to be that guy where she's just unloading on all the time. And at the same time, you don't need to fix the problem. What you do is you notice that she's having this, you look her straight in the eye, you ask her, and assume it's not about you. Assume that you are not the problem. Most guys assume they're the problem, that's why they have to fix it, because they're so insecure that they think that they're going to lose their woman. She's going to be mad at him. He has to fix it. If he doesn't fix it, she's not going to love him. She's not going to sleep with him. All this bullshit. That is not a calm, confident, secure man. A calm, confident, secure man sees her having a moment. She's like, oh, that's interesting. She's having a moment. He doesn't immediately think it's about him. He assumes it's just about her, because it really is. At the end of the day, she's having an experience and a reaction to something that she saw. Even if you said it, she's choosing to react this way on some level. Can you tell her this? No, you'll come off as a dick, because she doesn't know how to access her own agency in controlling and regulating her own emotional state. This is something she'll have to practice, and this is part of why you do this, to help her see and work through this as you're talking to her. So she gets upset. You ask her a question. What's going on? What's bringing this up? Well, it's because of this, and this. Okay, cool. How's that making you feel? Angry, frustrated, upset, or she might be overwhelmed. It's like, I don't even want to talk about how I feel right now. You say, okay, well, you're obviously seem very overwhelmed. She's like, I am overwhelmed. And then she'll probably go off talking again. Then she'll keep talking about this. And then you're going to look for the root cause of what's happening here. It's usually some sort of an insecurity. Usually some form of she's not loving on herself. Usually there's some negative thing that's now running the show, some programming. So here's an instance. My wife used to get very frustrated and overwhelmed in the morning, wrangling the kids around, putting lunches together, and getting them ready for school. And she'd do this because I'm typically working in the coaching business, and so I'm working quite heavily here with you guys. And so I'd come downstairs, and I hear her raising her voice at the kids. She doesn't yell, but you can tell she's getting spicy a little bit in her tonality. And so in order to pivot that around, I'm not going to say, hey, are you upset? It's obvious she's upset. It's a stupid fucking question. When you have this, when you're already pissed off and you're frustrated, somebody asks you a question like this, hey, are you upset? And it's a stupid fucking question. It's obvious. You don't ask it. You don't say, hey, what's making you upset? I can already tell. I've seen this happen 100 times, that she's getting overwhelmed with this stuff. And so I already know what the solution for this is, and I pivot her back into her heart and remind her. I don't even tell her what to do. I just say, I am so grateful that I have this family. I am so grateful you put so much time into these kids' lunches. I mean, look at that. My mom never would have done that for me. And you're doing all of this in spite of being overwhelmed and being tired and all this stuff. It just shows how much you love everybody here. I'm so thankful for this life and for you to be doing this with me. And then she remembers that she does love this. She remembers why she's doing this. And it shifts the perspective. And so I'm not here trying to solve her problems. I'm recontextualizing and reframing a situation that her higher self knows is very important. And then she breathes, she calms down, sometimes she'll get a tear in her eye, and then she'll say thank you. And that's all you usually have to do in these situations. Just bring her back into her heart. Remind her of what it is that she truly desires. Remind her how grateful that life is. Remember how amazing life can be. Remember the love that really drives her to do just about anything. And you're a woman as well, is doing things for great love. And just remind her of these things. Just show her this appreciation. And she will just pivot and melt and come back to normal. She might still be a little bit annoyed, but it'll be greatly reduced. And when you do this, you're also training her how to be back to where she is, what's really important in the world. And I know for you, if you have somebody in your life that reminds you of these things, you're very grateful. You're not trying to fix it. You're just trying to recontextualize what we're seeing in front of us. Anyways, brother, try this out. Tell me how it works. Post in the comments if it works for you. Join Soul Seducer if you need more techniques and you want to be an absolute jiu-jitsu master in the verbal game and being able to pivot your wife around, reframe things in a healthy and constructive manner for you and your family. And I'll see you in the next video.